I'm Mary Reese. I'm currently from Memphis, but I did grow up in Brooklyn, New York. I was 11 years old. I was delivering prescriptions for a drugstore on the corner from my house. And I was waiting for a prescription to be filled, and I noticed a camera and got interested, and he gave it to me. And then I taught myself how to process film from a book, and by the time I was 12, I got invited to people's homes for their parties, and I was earning money doing photography. My friend, I think his name was Neil, he lived in this 3-story house, and his parents were never home, and he had the run of the house, and I think we took over one of the bathrooms in the basement and made it a darkroom. We thought we were training ourselves to become Playboy photographers. I never believed that I ought to become a photographer. I went to school and I studied architecture, civil engineering. I tried to make it harder and harder. And then physics, anthropology, psychology, economics. I think I hit all the departments in the college. I studied I was an economics major for 12 minutes. And then a sociology major, but anthropology was the best. I thought anthropology, what I would really do is, I was still stuck on being a Playboy photographer. I figured I'd go to all these places where they had tribes where everybody was naked, and then I can just take natural naked photographs and send them to Playboy, and they would do a whole run of these. And in my senior year, I had one course to take, and I thought I'd take photography. After the second class, my photography teacher got sick and couldn't come back for the rest of the term. And they couldn't get a substitute teacher, so I taught the class. And I gave myself a really good grade. I got a job at Pratt Institute that was putting out a lot of art magazines. I photographed Marcel Breuer, who was putting up the Whitney Museum at that time. He would call me every time he went to inspect the building, and I'd follow him around and take pictures. But lots of really terrific artists, and they kept doing magazines on them. It was a great time. And then I decided that what I really wanted to do was teach, so I found this man, Harry Callahan, who was teaching in the Rhode Island School of Design, and I went to graduate school there a couple of years, and then I came to Memphis. When I do personal work, I don't have a lot of plans, because I know that the best part of it is that I'm going to find out an awful lot by doing it. It's going to be an adventure for me. For me, I have to, if I did a project and it all came out great, the next project has to be totally different, because I know that by doing it, I'm going to find out something that I didn't know before. That's the important part for me.
Oh, how about if
For my personal stuff, it makes so much more sense to shoot digitally. I often will take images that I've made in the past that I wanted to work with, and work with Photoshop and see what else I can do, and sort of drive them to extremes until something happens. That's been a great teaching for me. When I was shooting film, I felt pretty comfortable with all I needed to know for what I was doing. But with the digital world, I'm still learning and finding it incredibly fascinating, and I just don't know enough of it. I just finished a book, First Shooting Light, about duck hunting along the Mississippi. That was a discovery for me. I discovered there is something extraordinarily mystical to be standing in water, no matter how cold it is, when the sun is first coming up. There were a lot of good pictures that came out of that project, but I almost feel like you can't miss if you're there when the sun comes up and it's cold and the sky is really beautiful and the trees are picking up the light of the first rays. It's a lovely time. I believe that environment is stronger than will. I think being in the South, the atmosphere is kind of different. The energy in New York is real frenetic, and if you're a calm person, you'll ultimately pick up some of that freneticness. You have to. And living here, it's different. It's kind of slower and easier, quieter. And even in ways you don't know it, you'll be influenced by it. Thought I'd leave after 2 years. It's a nice place to live. It's easy. Lots of wonderful people here. It's really very supportive. It's really nourishing to the artistic spirit. You can do anything you want that you can do anywhere else. My philosophy on life is that become good at something, at what you do, anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Become really, really good at it. And that's your connection to life. And that's your connection to the world. And that's your connection ultimately to getting to know yourself and others.